The women's wheelchair basketball competition now continues inside the Karaoke Arena number 1. And this one, a real interesting affair, as the reigning bronze medalists from London, Netherlands, are taking on the People's Republic of China. They finished 5th in London 4 years ago, and right now they share something very similar in this matchup as well. As you look at them both, 2 wins and a loss, and both of the losses they take in Group B so far are to the United States of America. The Netherlands, well, they have scored more points overall in this competition. They're a side that has depth, they've got quality, they've got more size, really, in fairness to the Chinese team. But this is the group as we've seen. Netherlands and People's Republic of China, they sit 2 and 3. This will determine who ultimately will go in that 2nd seed. They've both lost to the United States of America, so they're unlikely, of course, to get that top position. But where they will rest in the top 4 that will take them through to the quarterfinals, that's what's going to be determined here. And a real brilliant moment already before this match has started. A rendition across the entire arena of the faithful already here, about 6,000, 8,000, I would say, about 6 at the moment. This is a 12,000 seat capacity venue. And they sing happy birthday to a young Dutch lady who was born during the Paralympic Games in Beijing, which was 8 years ago. So, and happy 8th birthday being sang already by all of these Brazilian fans, and equally those of both of these nations, as it will be Netherlands to be introduced out onto the floor first. And they really have, throughout this lineup, a number of scorers. Number 4, HUITZING as well. She averages 13 points a game. That was Roos OOSTERBAAN you just saw there, but this is happening so quick. It really, their captain, Van Bergen, is one to be looking for. She's number 13, just come around the corner there. 18 points a game, 17 for Cher KORVER as well. They're capable. And then their last player, Mariska, is number 15. She's already made her way out. She'll be one to be looking for. 22 points a game as she has been providing that offense for Netherlands. As a team, just under 80 points has been their average score in the matches that they have played. For China, now just being introduced, they average just over 61 points. And their average age, just under 27. Here they now to be introduced out onto the floor. And that is Li, a 4.5 classified player, 22 years of age. And all the way through, their next 4.5 is number 9, Cheng. Long is their captain, number 8. But most of their offense has come through number 11, Jai. She's just over 17 points again, and Liu, number 7. Those two are the likely offensive carriers today for the People's Republic of China. And their coach, that is Yu Zhuangsheng. It's now for the national anthem, starting with Netherlands.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of the Netherlands. Senhoras e senhores, o hino dos Países Baixos. Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of the People's Republic of China. Senhoras e senhores, o hino da República Popular da China.
And now for the acknowledgements of each other, there is Van der Linden, the coach for Netherlands. He's an interesting character, just the way he approaches his coaching style from the sidelines. I enjoy just watching the way he engages. He, a former Paralympian, or a Paralympian. There isn't such thing as a former. Once you have been a Paralympic athlete and participated at this level of competition, that's with you for life. And that is the code that comes with both Olympic and Paralympic sport. As they will shake hands with the referees, Nera Ejai, she is great to watch. She's, along with, as I mentioned, Liu, the two that are going to really set the tempo. But have they got a third member of their attack? There's Van der Linden. He's a dual sport Paralympian as well. So he actually, on the end of his amputations there, he has shoes that he puts on him. So he doesn't require prosthetic limbs. That's not his style. He will just sit up there as you see him on his backside. He gets into a comfortable position. He's got his coaching board out. He's right at level. In fact, he's a little bit lower than the athletes. And it's just an interesting dynamic. But he has the urgency and intensity required to make sure that this team is focused and sharp. You see the way the Dutch are warming up here. And this look through the lineup again. Jai number 11 and Liu number 7. Those are the most likely scorers for the People's Republic of China. So 5th place in London. Right now they're in and amongst that same sort of setup here. The Americans have given both of these teams a little bit of a lesson so far in this group. Zhu Yongxiang, he also quite demonstrative, giving his instruction. And the Chinese, they've managed the ball exceedingly well. Their rebounding isn't as strong as the Dutch, but whether or not they can manage overall defensively to keep this Dutch lineup in check, that really is going to be the tale of this story. Their steals also are twice what the Netherlands are able to execute. But HUITZING is a real threat for this lineup. She's 13 points a game, all the way through to Mariska Buur. But they just have so many balance. They have players with 6, 8, 10 points per game. Oosterbaan as well, De Rooij, Van Bergen. They can all get it done. And that's exactly how this side has been developed by this man here, to make sure that they can all be maybe interchangeable and not necessarily replaceable, but you just never know which athlete's going on the day, and they can find different combinations to make sure that they've got the most effective 5 on the floor at any one time. They got an impressive score line, up over 100 against Algeria, and Algeria have been improving in this competition, but they've had a lot to learn, in fairness, from some of the teams in this tournament. Chen, Liu, Long, Lin, and Jai will start for the Chinese. And they know exactly that conversation going on amongst themselves right there. This is going to be another stern test for the Chinese, but they are capable of what might be potentially seen as an upset here. These two sides are right alongside each other, and this could be the tightest matchup in this group. Pierre waiting there at the center circle. She's a 4.0 classification, 25 years of age. And then for China, the 2 victories they have over Algeria and France, and then the United States of America, as we say, has been dominant in this group so far. So every player with a numerical value apportioned to their level of function, and that effectively makes up their classification. So from a 1.0, which is the lowest level of function, to a 4.5, that's how they are assigned, and no more than 14 points can be on the floor at any one time, combined as a cumulative score across the 5 players. It will be Netherlands to take the opening possession, and the referee, that is Jan Uranella, who just put that one up, and Philip Haynes alongside and Arnold Mosea will be the 2 umpires. That, with an attempt, will just be a change of possession ultimately. Long Yun, she the captain of the side, she's a 1.5, so that's an interesting dynamic. 27 years of age, and just generally because the higher classifications as far as the numerical value generally seem to be given these leadership roles. So for it to be assigned to Long Yun, it really is an acknowledgement of her style. They're a very cerebral team. This lady here sets the tempo though physically, and she will be surging all day. At the line now, Jai, she'll take 2. And she can't open up the scoring yet, as that one thuds off the front of the rim. But one of the challenges equally we've seen in this tournament is the offensive fouls. And Jai, if she's feeling as though she needs to take the ball herself and control play, she will really just surge forward in straight lines. And the Dutch, if they're smart, will get in her way and make it a dilemma for her in which to control herself better, which ultimately will slow her down. She can one-on-one take on anybody in the world in a race. But this for Netherlands, De Roo and into HUITZING, and HUITZING can shoot a 3 from here. They don't take many of them, Netherlands, but they take that one. It's a 2, just a 2 ball. You see the fingers of the umpire up, and not just a 2. That was a long ranger. That was for about 18 feet. As she just rolls into a pocket here. You see the way she sets herself, almost comes 90 degrees to the angle that she wanted to take, and then a direct line straight in for 2. And Jai, who has that 1 free throw, she equally doesn't need to be invited to throw it up, but her shooting style a little bit more shot put like, isn't it? But it's been turned over. They're going to give it back to her again, and they'll manage this possession. Just try not to take a shot. The problem being is the rebounding of the Dutch is outstanding, and if you don't hit it, then they win it back just as quick. But this, another score, as China with their first field goal, it'll go to Lin. So up and back the floor in just over a minute and a half. 4 10-minute quarters in wheelchair basketball, just as basketball in the Olympics. And De Roo with the long play. This is a great rolling cut move down around the outside of this defensive structure for China. But they can't make it count, and these early stages, they are quite indicating it helps you, obviously, to get a few good touches, and then the return of a basket too. China this time. It's a double-handed sort of set shot there that's just pretty low in its arc, and it's gonna have to be precise to get in the rim from that sort of angle. De Roo almost going for the shot, then she throws it up over the top, and then there is the basket. It will go to OOSTERBAAN, number 7. And she makes it even more difficult for herself not to use the backboard, as she, from a tight angle, almost having to go straight up to get it over the near side of the rim, and it just muscles its way down. So as predicted, both of these teams are going to keep it tight. Ball management, retention, and efficiency are the models for China. Those are the tenets by which they need to execute, and they do from outside. Liu, she one of the go-tos on the side for the People's Republic. And with that shot and that 1 free throw from Jai, each possession that they score, they exchange the lead. So that scene is contact off the ball, and it will be given up to China. So it's 3 seconds rather. 3 seconds in the key is officially the call. So she is camping out there, set up shop, and the referees call a halt to it and have given it to China. Jai hasn't quite found her field goal range as yet. He thought she might take another shot. She's comfortable enough from there, but she knows you've got to really just hold the ball a little bit longer, because each time you throw it up early, as they say, and you don't convert, as there's 2 attempts now from Jai, effectively it's a turnover, because the rebounding game for the Dutch is so strong that they're just going to pick up that loose ball. The next thing you know, they're back against you. So you have to take high percentage shots. The efficiency so far from China from the field, they're at 33%, so they're going to have to be better than that. The Dutch will counter. It's been a Paralympic party. That little young lady there with the flag for the Netherlands. You saw her with her shot as the Netherlands had their national anthem there, and she has been a real fixture in the venue. And again, this is Jai with her first field goal from range. Looks a little bit more comfortable from this left side offensively. HUITZING thinking as though she was going to find a pocket. They've given her too much room. She will shoot from there. That's well within her range. She doesn't come up with it. And again, the rebounding game as BERGEN comes up with it. You see her, she's not been precise enough. And China manage it. They will fast break here. But they'll hold and look for the second layer of support. And you look at Mariska BERGEN, she really does have an imposing, statuesque build about her. And it's only really Jai who's tall enough for the People's Republic to match up against her. You see her just visualizing again that shot release point that she is trying to execute. She hasn't quite found what she's capable of yet. And we're just chatting with that little lady. Actually, the DJ in the building wore her hat for some of the in-venue entertainment, and that, of course, sparked up great pleasure from the crowd. It's a unified experience at the Paralympic Games, and particularly it has been in this arena. HUITZING just gets herself wrapped up and is traveling, so you are allowed to touch twice your hands on your wheels, but then you must bounce it, pass it, or shoot it. And HUITZING, obviously a third touch before doing that, and that leads to the change of possession. So they can shoot it with two hands, they can bounce it with two hands. Sometimes they prefer to do that. Every player's style a little bit different, and everybody's shot technique a little bit different. That is Jai. She'll get herself back, though. We've seen her. She just uses her leg really to leverage against, to get herself into her seat position again. There, Linden over there on the sideline. I just find him fascinating to watch. He's totally accepting of who he is and how he wants to manage himself. Every coaching style equally different. Some of the coaches able-bodied, others with an impairment, and each one managing their impairment maybe slightly differently. You see just as this coach, Van der Linden, just sitting there on the floor. Others obviously using their seats, prosthetic limbs, and in this case, not. So it's just a preference and a style. It's who they are. And the foul coming in to BERGEN. She doesn't get a chance to get the shot off, and with that last, as you see, ahead by one. So he's got a seat. It's a seat cushion. But into a position, HUITZING with the layoff here for BERGEN. She looked to be right on point there. She had enough time, and she didn't have a whole lot of distraction in front of her. The Chinese are happy enough just to manage the areas of the game that they're stronger in, and you're going to see that repeatedly with Jai. She gets herself into all manner of contact, contortion. She's a little bit like a trapezist, really, or a gymnast. She'll do a tumble roll. She'll also tightrope it sometimes, trying to get into tight places and control it. And then she's at full extension, using her arms just as some counterweight to be able to find her balance point as well. But again, the People's Republic of China have managed what has been a little bit of a staggered start. Hasn't been free-flowing as yet, but that's the way the Chinese are going to want to play this. Manage the game. They don't go out and challenge HUITZING too aggressively. They know their strength. In transition, they want to get playing with up-tempo. They get it to Jai. She is their low center, but she carries the ball so much that she has to beat the Dutch players to the point, and then she's got to make her shots as well. They will really live and die by how she performs today, because she isn't just a shooter. She is a full court player at both ends. Again, a lot of room given, and this time it will ricochet around the rim off the backboard. And Long Yun just inbounding quickly. And you're just seeing that general pace that the Chinese like to play at. They're reliant right now on their ball movement, their team execution. You see both the wings going down and just cornering down low, and then the shooting right now is right on point. This is Lin, who's done it and put up a 6 point. She's 3 from 4 from range. And the smiles, the sparkle that has been the hallmark of the competition so far. And this, as you're seeing the scenes, the expression coming from van der Linden. He's the kind of coach, to be honest, that I equally would have enjoyed playing for. Just seems to have a great feel for the intensity and the urgency required, and also the demand that you have to have of your athletes to perform amongst the best. They're capable of medaling again, are the Dutch. It's China that are trying to get up over the hump. Sitting in 5th 4 years ago, can they put themselves onto the medal podium? This match is an indication of that. And what memories for that little lady, as it will be inbounded now for Netherlands again. So they find themselves now back 3 points. That's as big a lead as China has enjoyed. Equally, the Dutch have had the lead in this opening quarter too. And this one is their shooting game right now that has not been where it has in the tournament bureau, though, right in the middle of a number of Chinese defenders. So just to give you the numbers for the overall shooting in this tournament for Netherlands, 50% from 2 points. And they've taken 5 three-pointers. They've not converted any of them. So their overall percentage is 49%. It's 45 for China. And right now, China performing exactly at that rate as they hit another one. And the Dutch, well, they are at it too, but they're just not shooting as much or as many as they would like. This is the 3-point margin again. As HUITZING has been the ball carrier. She looks for Björk, who's come out high. They're not allowing her into a down low position, and equally as she goes up, it's going to be a 3-point play, and that's the way to cut the margin in one sequence. As you get the 2 points in the course of shooting, and then here maybe one from the line. So 42 years of age is Inge HUITZING, 4.5 classified player. That's the highest you'll have in wheelchair basketball. And just to give you a comparison to wheelchair rugby is a 1.0 to a 3.5, and you're allowed only 8 points on the floor at any one time, and that's across 4 athletes. So it's just the differences to give you some perspective in the different sports and how they are constructed and how they are played. It's Jai trying to get this pass. She does get there in time. Perfectly done. A long play. And it may have just sounded the whistle before she gets the shot off. And there's not much that goes past van der Linden. You got to get up pretty early in the morning in order to outfox him. He saw exactly where that shot clock was, and he brings it right to the attention of the referees. Very attentive to the small details. And those are relatively obvious details, but not every coach is as vehement or as willing to get right in the ear as he will just walk right up there. And I think that helps to a degree his confidence to be that bold, because he's on his amputations and doesn't feel as though he's towering over the referees in their ear and being a little bit overbearing. Just kind of comes up beside them and gives them a polite reminder, but with energy and intensity. The shot clock's running out. Their ref might want to call that. But there it is, a rebound for the Dutch. And at the end of the opening 10 minutes, they have been able to reassert themselves and get a 1-point lead. They were down by as much as 3, but at quarter time, Netherlands 14, People's Republic of China 13. And this is being played as advertised. It's as tight as a drum in Group B action. And the shots, decent shooting percentage, just kind of fluctuates depending on making a shot or two, and they make a couple there, the Dutch, at the end, and so their field goal rate at 54%. Just a couple shots for China from the line. But they are great at rebounding, are the Netherlands, and this will really come down to just as much about shooting as it will be the subtle things that go on off of the ball the positioning, the rebounding, and the management of it, preventing turnovers. If China can eliminate turnovers, which has been their calling card throughout this tournament, this is going to be a difficult game for both of them to try to break each other down. Confirmation again of the score as we get ourselves set to go into period 2, the second quarter. China with the inbound, so they weren't able to get control on that opening tip. It just alternates back and forth with the possession arrow. And the referee's happy. Everything's in situ, and we're underway in the second quarter. Long Yun, the captain, plays it into Lin. Jai, and as we've seen, a prime target, but Long Yun comes from the outside, and it's a long ranger, but it will go right through into the bench, and no real effort there to try to get it, and that's just makes sense. Deru knows that there's no point. They're going to get the inbound anyhow. It's calm, and it's very cool and poised right now inside as far as the tempo of play. Deru will wrap it around, and she will get it. You see the condition she is in. Just fabulous. She's cut like a diamond. The definition and the muscular frame. It goes up off of the back of the rim, and it will be taken by China. And it comes forward, and this for Jai. She holds, spins against traffic. She's as good with the left hand as she is the right. That's a feed inside, and that one, oh, they do find a way. That thing was teetering on the brink, and then it does just fall down for another pair. China don't want to give that one up and allow then the Dutch to come and be able to extend their lead and put it to 5. Those baskets are pivotal. So are those ones right there. Just to come in and drop it from range. Again, HUITZING. Pinpoint accuracy. She's got that ball on a string. Need to be quick getting it across the line. They could be in trouble here, China. 8 seconds is all they have. If they get an offensive rebound off the rim, it's 14 seconds in which to get their shot off. That's how it resets. You see Jai, though, going into those areas. She could use a pair of 4x4 wheels the way she likes to play it. She likes the rough traffic. And the indication there from the referee will just get, it's a 24-second. That's exactly what it is. It's a shot clock violation. And it looked as though he was scratching his back with the call. Just had to clarify that one. So a turnover, and these are the moments where China have to be really good, because HUITZING can just come right in here and increase this to 5, just like that. And she's done it. That last little bit, that's a turnover ultimately from China, not managing the shot, more aggressive full court press coming from the Netherlands, and that has created a little bit of a chink and vulnerability in the armor of the Chinese. They display a little bit of a flaw there, and that has been exploited by HUITZING just coming up and hitting the shot after they've turned it over, and it had gone back and forth. And now with a 5-point differential and then missing the shot again, they've just given up a little bit of quarter here in this second period. It's 6-2 right now for the Netherlands, and that is the utilization of a timeout, because that really is what is the beginning of an opening that if they don't heal it real quick here now, it could just increase in size. Stylish as ever, the Netherlands. An orange coaching board as well. And there the crowd inside the Carioca Arena 1. It's been very special. And if you're just tuning in, there was the perception that maybe the Paralympic Games weren't going to be supported. That there was a discussion that there was only 13% ticket sales. Well, there has been a impressive push towards it, but I think equally a collective pride of Brazil and patriotism. But as I've said a number of times, people don't know this, but we learn it in the facts. 40 million people across Brazil have an impairment of one form or another. And that is a significant percentage of the population. So these games have come and are shining a light on many things that Brazilians would love attention towards, and equally sport which they love naturally. And hosting the world's eyes, well, that's a great source of pride too. They're feeling good about what they've done in Brazil and in Rio. And right now, the Netherlands are feeling good about what they have established. 7 points now, another turnover. And this is where the turnovers are starting to become an issue right now for the People's Republic of China. They found a wedge here. And that viewer cannot get it through. Jai, they just need a third point. As far as on the triangulation of an offensive threat, they're not as big, the Chinese players. So the speed of ball movement against the very athletic Dutch side, that is key, but you have to have the players in position in order to do that. And the Dutch are doing enough to put pressure on this lady who's just fallen down, Jai. And you see the expression on her face. None of that is ever any fun. But she is always in the thick of it. Difficult going backwards, isn't it? She's almost closes her eyes there in anticipation of the foul. You see the reaction from the coach coming from the Dutch bench, suggesting that there's no foul there. Well, I think it's a pretty fair call. They're going to need to be clinical, though, from the free throw line from here. Oh, and it will just work its way around and out. And you can see the expression from Zhu. He can feel it, that this in the early stages, starting to see some separation. That will just bring it within 6. So three-pointers aren't the mode either for China. That means ultimately it's 3 possessions that they need to have to just level. This is the youth of the 17-year-old KRAMER in the game. This is her first Paralympics. She's also one of those players that you just can't help but be gravitating towards. Watching her, the energy that she plays with. Is that the turnover? China not ready for that. Back to the play. And this is an example of where you try to force things to make them happen when they're not coming as easily as they have, or you would like them to. Korver will get that conversion. It's up by 8 now. It's been turned over again. This is Korver. She's got KRAMER to the backside. Double Ks. Oh, and it won't go in. It was right there, wasn't it? It goes off the rim, though, so they get the reset of 14 seconds. A little re-loop, and she is again. Inge HUITZING. And she, again, continues to just hurt this Chinese side with her shooting range. She's got 14 points. And it's all smiles right now for the Dutch fans. But for the People's Republic of China, there are some questions being asked, and they know it.
大家注意啊，破紧逼的时候，心态要平。那个小妹，你看那边，啊，你带着这边，你看下。
And a moment of reservation right now are China feeling as though they've come up against another strong side. The grouping, this was number 2 against number 3 in this Group B. And now the final match in the preliminary round. This is really to just decide their final positions. With a victory, they should be good enough. Oh, Jai is going to have to go back over the line. That's over and back, and you see it again. Again, it's difficult, isn't it? When they know what they're doing wrong and they want to be able to fix it, but you're really in the face of a very prevailing wind right now, as Netherlands have just upped the ante. And the shooting of 14 points, and now of 16 from that lady there. It just makes life very difficult as the wave whips around. That was the first real learning of it being winter season here in Rio. You have a vision that Rio is a summer city all year round. Well, it is. The weather conditions are also great here, even in the winter, from the months of June through to September, but it was the wind that indicated on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean that this doesn't quite feel like the height of summer. And it's because, of course, in this part of the world, south of the equator, this is a different season to those that are on the north. It'll be controlled by China, but they can't advance it as quickly as they like. It's this full court press from the Netherlands right now that's just very stubborn and is unrelenting. They're merciless. Advancing, and they've got a break here. That won't go. Just too much speed, almost trying to create that little bit of opening, and with it, it was in fact too much to control. From the outside, another shooter. That was KRAMER trying to pull it down, and she ends up knocking it to the near side. But it's a speed of ball movement right now from the People's Republic that is obvious, and also having the passing options available to them. They're being locked up. The game is being controlled by the Dutch, not allowing any of that good ball movement and team play that, if given time and space, the Chinese are known for. This is much better. Advancing it in motion, and they have a little bit more freedom to come across that center line, and with a little bit of better timing and feel for things, they'll take a rebound. Oh, but they've got to put away those little gifts like that. Moments there, they haven't been to the rim in a field goal position in the last few minutes, and it was evident there that they were a little bit cool. As that'll just get beyond the teenage KRAMER, 17 years young, and the pass there, she has the ability to bring that in, but you could see it was just beyond maybe the tipping point, and she had to change her angle in which to prevent her fall. But again, a timeout right now, and this game is being jockeyed back and forth. The lead now gone up, or sorry, it's gone to 12 points. And as far as thinking that China was going to come back into this one, it's being extended away from them. It was, in fact, a seesaw battle in the first quarter, but this is Netherlands 14-3 up in the second quarter, really putting and turning the screw against China. This the captain, and you're seeing now the Dutch setting up their reinforcements just inside that three-point line. China come right across, and with speed can get towards the basket, but their shooting percentage now is really dropping. They're at 37% overall, and Netherlands at 50, and that 13-point percentage. And Björ's just gone a little bit quiet herself. You would have counted on her to have scored from that position. She's 2 from 7, and she's shooting at 29%, so that's a little bit uncharacteristic for her overall percentage. And she'll go to the line here now. So she's been shooting the ball at 58% in the tournament, and right now she's right at half of that in this game. But fortunately for her, she's got other teammates that have great quality as well in scoring. And speaking of great quality, so is that hat wear. It really is a beauty. The infringement on the lines is what has been called by the referee. The players moving before the shots released from Björ. And on time there, she will get a point as it just nuzzles its way over the front of the rim. So she's 1 from 2 from the line, but 13 points in the clear. And you're seeing the utilization of the timeouts from China. They're trying to stop what looks to be, maybe in this matchup, an unstoppable force. The Dutch just dragging this game forward with them. And they're getting more and more wind in their sails, as you wouldn't doubt against them taking this possession. KRAMER, she hasn't scored yet, but she's well capable of it. But she's a tremendous ball handler, as you see, calm in the moment. And she'll look to just adopt some of the duties without HUITZING out here of handling that ball. It's been turned over. That's just the passing play. It just can't be executed. And if they could just hit a spell of shots. There's no Chai on the floor right now. And this to turn. Someone's going to need to shoot it here. They're going to run out of time. And it's got to come from this position. They're going to outweight themselves. And that's another moment there, indicating that China just have lost a little bit of the edge. It's being taken and rounded off by the Dutch. Central feed, and that you would have bet on going in, but it comes loose. It goes to a possession arrow. Now you see Marissa Björ suggesting that's my ball and I'm going to take it. She's also going to take the next shot, but she can't be accurate again. In the course of shooting, it's a Chinese foul. So at the line is Van Bergen. This is the captain for Netherlands. 38 years young, a 2.0 classified player. A second shot. This one, the same result as the first. Trying to get a little bit of a break there. They need a run. They need a couple baskets here and not to concede any more from Netherlands. Can Cheng hit? She looked to be on, but it's just a little too forceful. And that's what you need desperately in times where you've given the opponents a lot of advantage. You have to on your runs. You've got to be accurate with the shooting. If you're not, you're working uphill the entire time. And everything more difficult than it needs to be. But this has been a foul in the course of ball movement, even getting it across that center line in time. And you've seen there's been violations from China. And the shot clock, I think it's 3 times that they've allowed it to expire before they have been in a position or felt ready to take a shot. When you're dealing with bigger athletes, quick, strong, you're working so much to get around them that you do just take your eye off the clock. You lose your rhythm a little bit in the pattern of how you've created your flow and your timing as a team, because you just start seeing this big orange wall in front of you all the time. In for Björk. This one will go down. It wraps around. So she stays with it and just pushes through. The only way out is through. She knows that. There's no sense stepping out of the match and say it'll get better if I come back in after a break. She's got 7 points. She's shooting at 33%. It's always an indication of those really good players. It's the end of the first half that they find a way to work through, even when maybe they're not playing their best. They can still lead, still contribute, as China are in tough against Netherlands at halftime. They've almost been doubled. It's 31 Netherlands, People's Republic of China 16. This is the women's wheelchair basketball. This is the last match in the preliminary round for both of these teams. Defensive rebounds, turnovers, China almost 2-1. Just being a little bit careless and mismanagement, and you really can't be critical of them. You really have to sometimes also give a nod to the opposition. The Dutch are executing a perfect game plan right now, as delivered by Van der Linden, and particularly when they were in the forecourt applying that press. That's when you started to see the Chinese team break down. It's a chance inside the Karaoke Arena 1 for the crowd to be entertained by the in-house entertainment, and they are good. A third quarter awaits us both. We'll be back in a moment.
So now it's time for a little bit of romance. Agora o clima ficar um pouquinho mais romântico, porque vem aí, galera. Casais, se preparem. Vem aí a câmera do beijo. It's time for the kiss cam. And I have the very first couple right here. Primeiro casal tá aqui. Sugar free, please, that romantic soundtrack for us. Vamos lá, galera. É com vocês, por favor. Proporcionem esse momento delicioso aqui. Aê!
Second half now, just about to start in the women's wheelchair basketball. Group B, People's Republic of China, as you can see, have just let a little bit of the Dutch prominence, presence, and equally their depth get the best of them in that opening 20 minutes. And just got to wonder from here whether or not China have the tools in the bag in which to try to get realistically back into this one. Defensively, they're going to have to be better. And they're just going to have to be shooting better as well. They're going to have to shoot better than the Dutch. And also then, of course, just be very efficient with their ball possession and try and get into better positions, I think, has been one of the challenges. They've let a lot of room be available for Netherlands to work in their offensive half, or rather in China's defensive half of the court. And if they could be more aggressive here as soon as they get the ball, that might bode them better. This, look at the ball handling, and look at where she gets to. This is the best shooter of the game so far, and then she comes and does that. So there's not really a whole lot that you're going to be able to do to defend against that. She's got the hot hand, does Inge HUITZING right now. 9 from 15, so 60% from the field, and 18 points. So you saw that they did their best, China, to try to get forward, and this, another attempt. It's the defensive rebound for Björk, who you expect is probably going to win these ones. She is strong, she's taller than the other athletes. She really commands a significant presence as she's matched up right against Jai, who is the player trying to get into a low post position, but she's just not being permitted to get in there, and that prevents and forces China to have to take shots from the outside. And again, they've not been able to be successful. This leaves the door open again for Netherlands to increase their lead. It has been very controlled in the hands of this lady right here, and she's sat up for another one. And she gets the rebound, and it's really uncontested. It just comes out, and China right now just content to stay as compact as they can do. But everything else they need to be doing, need to be forcing better against those shots there, getting a hand up. You see the activity from the center. There she is again. That is Mariska Björk. She's 25 years of age, a 4.0 classified player. And she really is just dominating at both ends. She's not doing it so much on the scoreboard. She's got 7 points, which is good. It's just her all-over game right now is proving too much to handle. There's incidental contact that sends down the Dutch player. That is Deru that's gone down, 36 years of age, and not sure whether Cheng catches a piece of her. And just have a look at how that has been assessed. It's going to be a change of possession, so it will go against China. And here she is again. So the foul, it's Long who gets the foul. And that's how HUITZING, now with a dozen seconds on the shot clock, is in control. And this one equally, that is difficult, isn't it? Just there coming up and fronting against your opponent. You just make that incidental contact with a wheelchair and you're assessed with a foul. So 14 seconds now back on the shot clock for Netherlands. In this performance, as HUITZING will just put one up there, and those are days that you always hope for. It goes off the front of the rim, off the back glass, and then straight back down and through the open cylinder. And that's not every day that you get the benefit of that rub of the green, or in that instance, the rub of the iron, and equally the glass. And China from an extended free throw position. It's a fast break against them. They haven't anticipated it. This will be quick, and it will be that easy. As Netherlands with a new score on the board. That's their number 6. That is Jiske Visser, 23 years of age. She's got 4 points now. She's 2 from 3. So she had already had a couple. She had played the entire first half. In comparison to what HUITZING has been doing, you're almost expecting that HUITZING had done all the scoring. Throwing on the brakes is Deroy coming right into your living room or wherever you're watching. She had done her best to try to track that ball down before it hit the baseline. And she threw on the brakes. That takes some doing. You just see just how powerful she is. So she can, in fact, go full throttle and give every bit of energy she's got to chase that down forward. And she knows that she's not going to end up going to the advertising hoarding and right out the back end of the arena, that she's strong enough to control herself. That gives her confidence. You're seeing that strength, athleticism from Netherlands. And they just come around the backside. HUITZING just very clever. Almost just cuts that right out of the hand. And there Deroy goes into a very awkward fall. That was quite jolting. She gets the help from her teammate. Not sure what she quite catches here that really flails her up. It's actually just the wheel. And because she's so strong in her core, she catches that edge. There's been a little bit of elevation from her right side, so the left wheel just plants into the wood surface of the court, and it really catches and ends up just chucking her forward. In the Jai, she hasn't been able to get into these positions closer to the basket. She's got to battle against a couple hands, muscles forward. But that's where they have not allowed her entrance to, and that's where she's got to get to more often. So they've been able to have Mariska Bure up against her and boxing her out so that she spends most of her time in these wings or high above the free throw position. And that's not where she's best. She's best down low. She's athletic enough that you can get the ball on an entrance pass to her, and she's going to catch most everything. Good enough for the pass, because of the chairs and the way they are, each player generally does have enough space in which to receive it if it's accurate enough. HUITZING again. Too easy, too smooth, and it almost looks a little too easy. And the good players do that. And you see it when other players have it. It isn't that easy. Another shot though, and a score. It's the ball movement and then the finish here. So Deru with the 4th point for herself. Internal, and that's just almost just kind of smashed off the glass. It was probably in as much just trying to lunge away from the defense and maybe not thinking fully about the touch required on the final shot, the angle to get it inside the rim. China just a little too deliberate about their ball movement. They're gonna have to act quick here. They're running out of time. Jai will have to shoot. They'll allow it. It goes off the rim. It'll be taken by Netherlands. And it just has been a little slow starting. There we are. It's probably the best reflection, that expression of where things were at the beginning. And now they're just holding, doing the best they can, China, but they know they're in a very tough passage of play here. They're now back by 22 points. It's 8-1, the margin for Netherlands in this third quarter already. HUITZING looking for an option. She does make the inbound. It doesn't come back to her. She'll just swing over to the near side. Finally it does. It's just getting a sense of timing and movement. That's as much a part of that offensive synchronicity, just making sure that they're on the same page. Got to be careful from here. HUITZING will just take it right off you as quick as a thief in the night. Got to keep an eye on her. She's just got quiet play about her. She doesn't have a whole lot of wide arms or movement. Doesn't fall a lot either. Very well balanced, but just an even keel. It just allows the ball to run through her as the most reliable pair of hands that Netherlands has. It's onto the backside and it's over to the aforementioned. She's in a good position, and again, so much so that she's found just the perfect touch over the near side of the rim. And both those gents acknowledge it. That's all you really can do, saying she's got it. So with 13 points from China in that opening quarter, only 3 in a second, and they've only recorded 1 so far in the third. Things have gone dry for the Asian side, and this from long range be picked up, and that is also just a very intimidating piece of skill. Even when you miss it, you get it back and you know how to manage it, even if it's going to be a difficult short hop. And this, too many offensive rebounds being afforded for Netherlands. They've done it 4 times in this possession. They've taken 4, they've got 5. They might need a 6, but they're not going to get that one. And that is impressive for Netherlands, but equally, it's not being contested. 13-3 the offensive rebounds. They have to improve on that point, China. They're not going to roll over. And they have, in fact, just really allowed the Dutch side to flex their muscles and really take charge in this third quarter. We've got 2:24 remaining, and it really has become a big point spread from here. 24, exactly. We'll listen in the Chinese timeout. Coach will tell you they would love a team of players that are always intrinsically motivated. You can work with that, and the Chinese are. They're doing the best that they can, but they have, in fact, met their match against Netherlands, and they have against the Americans as well. But they have to find their own ways in which to also reward themselves, too. When they make a good play, little small things that they can at least take stock from, as there's another couple points from Netherlands. You have to almost reduce it from the whole picture. The whole picture right now is the 43-17 scoreline. But they, in the remaining 2 minutes here, have to prep themselves for a strong close, because they're going to go into the quarterfinal round next, China, and they can't do it licking their wounds, feeling sorry for themselves for such a significant defeat against the very top side. This will have an effect on their confidence, and equally they'll be thinking, are we realistically going to be able to come through that quarterfinal opponent? But this is how they have to, over the remaining 1:40 of this quarter, and then going into the last one. They've got to change their thinking, and they've just got to reduce the overall comparable. Just put this game into these little compartments. This is going to be another shot, though, from Netherlands. And they continue to just add insult to injury. It's 14-1 in this third quarter. China need a score. They need it for their own confidence. They've got as good a look at it from Lin right here. But it's off the rim, and the defensive rebounding game as they reach in for a foul. It's there offensively, it's there defensively as well for Netherlands. But you just physically look at the size difference. It is an advantage, without a doubt, but they seem to invariably always be in the right position too. And you can cover a lot of floor with a long reach, the extension, as DeRoy, she makes her way now off in favor of new players. So it's Oosterbaan, Timmerman, Korver, Van Bergen, and Van Leeuwen now on the floor. Van Leeuwen hasn't had a lot of activity yet, nor as HUAN, number 5. Looked to be a moment where they're going to just set up for an outside shot. The contact on the arm is what's being assessed, so 2 seconds, as you see on the graphic there, but actually it's being reset to 14 on the scoring clock. And they're going to go to the line. And you see by the watchful eye of Van der Linden, he's not necessarily looking at it for this match. He's looking at it for his team. And what's their frequency right now? How well are they vibrating as a group and in unison together when they're going to go up against maybe stronger opposition as they get into the next round, the quarterfinals? It's about peaking at the right time. And they're playing very well in this one. Just not allowing the People's Republic of China to have a whole lot of opportunity to be successful. They're on the outside. It's reliant upon their shooting game from here, and that one is not accurate enough. It's a 50-50 ball. This is better, though. Wrapped up, and another second effort at it. They have to be good enough from here. They will, and it's the left-handed delivery, and that there, number 4. You're seeing it. That is Lee. She will get her first couple points of the match. Just the one shot she's taken from the field. So Lee and Korver trying to get it on an inside play. And that's the end of the third quarter. I think they may have called a foul. You see Van der Linden suggesting that was in the course of shooting. We'd like our free throws before the horn sounds, but they have allowed the third quarter to expire. It is Netherlands 46, People's Republic of China 19. And you see all the exact details from Netherlands they're trying to execute. That is totally a game plan that they have from the outset. Their shooting hasn't been dynamite, though. They're 44%, which is good. I'm not sure it's quite good enough to get you on the medal podium, though. Not against even stronger opposition than what the Chinese are presenting today. 17 turnovers you've seen for China. That really has been their Achilles heel. But HUITZING has had an outstanding day where she has basically, any good look she has had, she's been able to drop it. She's got 22 after 3 quarters of play. the rebounding for Netherlands so far in this tournament, 149. And then their tally today that they have been able, another 37 so far on top of that. So quickly do the math. And that's 186 that they have in the tournament up to this point. And that's as good as anybody in the tournament. So you just see how as a 5-pack, they are able to really swarm the rim at both ends. And that'll just give you second, third chance opportunities that when their shooting has been good today, but not great, it just puts a little bit of a patch on that. This is the issue though, when you get up against even stronger opposition in this tournament, if your shooting isn't as good as it needs to be, you might not get that advantage back by having such a dominant reflection in the rebound category to your opponent. So that will go in, the second one from Korver. She's 1 from 2 in the line. Korver, they're looking at her, that is her first name. Cher Korver rather, and that's her support right in behind the timekeeper's bench. Is the shot of those fans and that banner, but Timmerman. She'll now just take a moment to handle this ball, take a little bit of pressure off of HUITZING, as she's not on the floor right now. So Oosterbaan, Timmerman, Korver, Van Bergen, and Van Leeuwen. Again, the distribution across this entire lineup, that is the coaching style of Van der Linden. That you would have expected to have fallen. They'll just come out to a better angle. This one, surprisingly, there is a little bit of a reflection of some of the shooting so far. And they keep that ball alive simply because the People's Republic of China just weren't in a good enough position to recover. Other teams will be. You won't get the second opportunity. And there they've just left a few points on the floor that they would have loved to put up on the board. That's an area that the Dutch are going to have to be sharp with. This one you can concede that 28 points away. It is going to have to be one of these memorable capitulations in sport if things can't be controlled from here and they see this across the line with a victory. Timmerman circling back on herself. She's just looking for more room time. She's going to take this shot. She will. That one will go just inside at 2-point range. And you don't see a lot of smiles down deep. He knows that's a great basketball play. Zhu, he's looking more comfortable now. He's filling both those seats. In fact, he's filling all 3 of them. Just wanting a little bit of room. Maybe he's a little bit hot and bothered. I'm sure a little bit irritated and frustrated by how this has gone today for China. KRAMER. That's one of the things that is said in sports. Show me a talking team and I'll show you a confident team. And that's exactly what's going on right now with Netherlands. They are all communicating well with each other. They're talking about their game plan and just focusing on what they're supposed to be doing, what they're good at, and making sure that they understand their assignments. And that's a team that's really alert, awake, and thinking about the things that are going to really put them on that medal podium if they want to be amongst the world's best again. Can't get it through though. That is going to just be a turnover. The hand up from Netherlands, and with the substitutions coming in, there'll be more changes again. And the rotation of the lineup, as you're seeing their big forward 4.0, Mariska Björk, just waiting. She's got a towel on, keeping herself warm. You'll feel that a little bit in the buildings. Very warm outside today, in the 30s degrees Celsius, without doubt, and humid. That one will fall for the People's Republic. But when you come indoors, the air conditioning most definitely works here in Rio. You find that as well in the catering areas. I guess that's probably not a bad idea. The refrigeration works as well as it does. This will be taken down by KORVER, down low and into KRAMER. KRAMER, whoa! And she does on a second time. The second time is a charm. And you see van der Linden suggesting there was contact on the head, he being protective of his players. I thought maybe the shot should have been made on the first asking of it. The coach suggesting there had been contact, and that will in fact bring about an explanation for the lower efficiency in shooting in this one, but it is an area that is going to have to be attended to. This one from China, that really was exceptional. To pull that down so quickly on the rebound, in amongst the traffic there, Chen then uses the carom and the angle off the backboard. So just to remind, if you're tuning in, about how wheelchair basketball is played, there's a total numerical value on the floor right now of 14 for each side. And that is the accumulation of each one of these athletes with an individual numerical value in accordance with their classification. The lower numerical value with the players with the higher level, or the lower level function, my apologies, and equally the higher numerical value is a classification for the players with a higher level of function. So every one of these athletes with a lower limb impairment, some with amputations, and equally others with their individual impairments, but they all have a classification. That's how they get to enjoy the sport together. That's how it's regulated out, so that there is equality and fairness, that you can't have more than that 14 cumulative score total on the floor at one time across the 5 players. So this is quite steady and deliberate from Netherlands. In the course of shooting, they'll draw 2 shots now from the line. So HUANG, who's just getting out onto the floor, she's the last one to really have a register of minutes played against her account. There'll be a timeout though before she shoots it. Both sides just taking in these moments, and this now equally as much about the preparation for their quarter-final round to come and how they need to be thinking. It's 5-4 for Netherlands in this 4th quarter, so a better response from the People's Republic of China. Zhu wants even more from them in the remaining 5:02. So good to go now from the free throw line. This is HUANG. It's her first free throw attempt, and she will complete it. And 2 from 2. Bullseye. And she nails it. Van der Linden wants to just make sure as he looks up at the screen. Just following that, he had his head down, looking at some of the plays that he was trying to craft and didn't see the initial shot, so he sees it on replay. China, that angle is very tight. You really can ill afford any misalignment on it, and that's what comes with shooting from the height that the players are. A lot of times that angle sometimes could use more of a trajectory to it. And now HUANG is in. So this is her first minutes of the game. Wang as well coming. And Chen, the only player who hasn't, number 15 for the People's Republic of China, participated in the match so far. Oosterbaan has got it. She's taken over from HUITZING as far as the main ball carrier. They'll give that one up. And the hands just a little too active, darting in there, trying to see if they can't dislodge this ball. And Zhu, a little bit of a wry smile there, looking on. So what have they got here now? This is Li. Is she gonna take a shot left-handed? She will, and it drops down. Well taken from there, well executed. So she's just keeping this scoreline moving forward. They're down by 1 in this quarter. So breaking it down into smaller chunks. And from the point really when I commented on it, with a little over a minute and a half in that third quarter, it is in fact Netherlands still leading in that small chapter of the match. But in this fourth quarter, it's within 1, so that's something to focus on for the People's Republic. And this is all about preparing their team for the matches to come. The Dutch are looking through this match from a different lens. It's not about necessarily where they are going to see themselves. It's the next step. How are they prepared, and how is their form looking, and their attention to the small areas of the game when they're going to come up against what might be stronger opposition in the quarterfinals. And if it isn't stronger opposition, what it is a higher pressure situation. Because if you lose, you're out, will be the next one. This is just the final match of the preliminary round, and this is for seeding and placement as to who you're going to cross over and play against in the other group, in Group A. So every team needs to really be at the height of their attention to detail. And particularly those Netherlands who really have a design on a medal here. So do the Chinese. They finished 5th again in London. But 5th and getting into that bronze medal game, that's also a quantum leap. It sounds like nothing, but those that are already in the top 4 and have been in that position before, they don't give that up easily. So you also have to improve past them and then be able to get up over the hump to get in that game. And then to get in that game and then to win it in order to get a bronze medal. So there are a number of hurdles really from 5th place to 3rd that are massively significant and not to be underestimated. The foul, just a little bit awkward there and clumsily making contact in the open floor. And the two of them. And you see KRAMER so supple to be able to have not fallen there. The way she reacts to the jolt she gets from the chair. There's another good left-handed delivery. As she uses her arms just to act as a counterweight and to readdress her balance. And LEI, she will score again, so she's got 6. So again, this is within 1 just in the fourth quarter alone as an independent competition. And it's back now within, well, it's a 3-point lead for Netherlands. Last 2 minutes of the match. China would love another couple scores, possibly a third one. They have been hard to come by. This is a better response. They only had 3 points total in the second and also the third quarters. So 6 total. That one goes in. That's outstanding. It goes off the back rim and then straight up and then right down from Wang. But they had 6 over, bookending that halftime. 3 in the second quarter, 3 in the third. They've got 10 already though in the fourth quarter. But it still is Netherlands the lead by 1 point in this final frame. So contact, the referee suggesting a little bit of a push there. That will bring about the inbounds. quick ball movement, and the shot a little too quick, maybe without the full location of where the basket was. And China said they would love to. They'll take 3 if they can get it. That one is going to be a foul in the course of shooting, so they're going to have 2 shots now from the line. And coming up to take him now is Wang. I think it was Kramer that just gets in there, just confirming. So Wang has drawn the foul. And it's HUAN who officially has the foul registered against her. That one will not go down. This one, the same result. Looked as though it was on point, but it ricochets out, so there are a couple chances. Jai now sitting down. You haven't seen a lot of her, and that is also just trying to conserve energy too, utilizing all of your personnel. I think they accept that they're not going to be finishing second in this group. We'll see just how it stands after this match, but there still are other matches to be played to finish out this preliminary round. So the ultimate decider will be the match for and against the 2 teams that are decided. And then it comes down to points for and against. So that's why managing the scoreline is so crucial, because these groupings, they've been very tight in the top 4. There's Kramer on the inside, the youngster. She's got great energy, plays with such alert awareness and vigor. But she's tidy and she's clean as far as the way she holds the ball. She doesn't give it up carelessly, and she's thoughtful with her ball distribution. And she's just very clean in controlling it. Very quiet in operation. And there, the fast break feed up to her teammate. And this one from Lucie HUAN will go down. The 25-year-old takes that one in full flow up the court and uses the backboard. She'll go to the line as well. It's the basket plus the foul. And she does it one more time, as they've gone through 60 on that play. And the 33-point lead. And Van der Linden, there's no smiles from him. And at this point, he's not interested in this result. He's interested in habits, in execution. The Brazilian fans have enjoyed the sporting party. It's a Paralympic party in Rio, and the 2016 Rio Paralympic Games. The wheelchair basketball competition for the women is coming to an end in the preliminary round. This will be the second to last day. There'll be another day's worth still, as the teams with 5 teams in each group, a total of 10 teams, setting up for who will take those top 8 positions. China looks like going to be the last possession of this matchup. A little bit of an overlap. Who's going to have the look, though? They're going to run out of time. Oh, and the Netherlands are just that good. Again, getting a blocking hand on it. They'll see that ball just move through the end of the baseline, and they're a little bit more vigor in celebration of the work that was achieved today. It's the women's wheelchair basketball. This is Group B, the final match for both of these teams. They have completed their 4 played, and it's a 62-29 victory, Netherlands over People's Republic of China.